Thanks for having me. I'm Nichole Case. I am the Chief Information Officer for the GraceKennedy Financial Group, which is a financial division of Grace Kennedy Limited. Been, I would say, quite an interesting journey. I would have started my journey in IT years ago. I started with a summer job where I was taught for the very first time how to use a computer. I didn't have a computer at the time. In those days, you really only saw computers in offices. And I was happy to be taught how to use different applications. And I think that stirred an interest in me. In fact, it led me to change my major in university. I was on track to pursue a career in medicine, I thought at the time. And I recognized that using computers and trying to understand how the computer works and the different applications, it really triggered something in me. And I continued along that path, didn't do IT in high school, but I just changed focus in university and decided that this is what I wanted to do. So while I was at university and not necessarily having the opportunity to use computers while I was studying, I also decided that I needed work experience while I was studying. So I became a lab tech at the university. And that again started another journey. It led me to the love of developing applications. I started doing some software development for the Department of Management Studies way back then, and really developed a practical understanding of how IT can really serve businesses and our community, basically. I then went off into the working world, and I would have transitioned from different roles. And I would say each role allowed me to just continue to grow. I started working with an industrial supplies company, and I was their one man IT shop or one woman IT shop running everything. That was a wonderful experience to put everything that I would have been taught in university and from being a lab tech into motion. I then transitioned to a larger company, and I started focusing more on implementing, accounting applications and implementing different types of business solutions. And one of the things that I recognized early on is that I loved solving problems. And IT is one of those areas, it's so diverse that if you love a puzzle or you love to solve problems, this is an area for you. And that was me, and it really resonated. And so I not only wanted to understand technology, but I also had a passion to understand the business, because I also felt that for me to marry IT to really truly find solutions for any business, I had to also understand the business. And that would have then led me to pursue my master's. And I said, okay, I have my IT experience, I've gathered my IT experience. How can I now enrich my knowledge? I started on the journey to do my MBA. And I wasn't in banking at the time, but I decided to specialize in banking and finance. And that then led me to seek an opportunity working in the financial sector. And so I joined the financial sector along my journey. And I would say I've just continued to rise and achieve different, at different levels, and gradually moved to working with First Global Bank, which was how I joined the Grace Kennedy family back in 2014. That has been such a tremendous experience because it really allowed me to leverage everything that I had learned up to that point across different companies, and in the Grace Kennedy environment, such a melting pot for learning. I found that I was able to blossom, and my problem solving skills that I had harnessed truly came into my own, I would say. And the one thing that I would say, even in my journey as an IT leader to where I am, is I remember the transition in between being an IT specialist and then transitioning into IT management, and recognizing that not only do I now have to harness my own personal skills in tech, but I'm also now responsible for helping harnessing the development of other persons in IT. And I think that has been quite a journey for me and has become a passion for me, in terms of my IT leadership. Really just trying to help other IT professionals figure out what they're really good at, highlighting areas of their personality and their strengths. And in some instances, I've recognized that many IT persons, they don't even recognize some of the strengths that they have. And sometimes it really takes somebody taking an objective eye and just mentoring and guiding and, helping them to remove some of the roadblocks that they have. And to me, that's what IT leadership is about, really helping my team. Because the reality is, the higher up that you go in IT, you truly cannot deliver proper, I would say, you can't deliver exceptional IT without an exceptional team. And so I stand by my teams that I have worked with, always proud of the persons that work alongside me. And I just feel like all of their future successes, wherever they go, I just feel like it's a part of my own personal success as well. The day of a CIO filled with meetings. I think one of the things you master is the fact that you work through discussions and collaborations, and that happens through meetings. And so one of the things we have to really master is how to, deliver and execute as best as possible through the types of discussions and really ensuring that they're productive. So I meet with different stakeholders um, aligned with achieving our objectives. I have to meet with who I consider my internal customers. I meet with my team, and there are different stakeholder groups that I have to maintain contact with. Um, I meet with vendors. It's also important while you are maintaining and having meetings to, review and optimize your operations, you also have to ensure that you spend enough time looking forward as well, and ensuring that you also get enough time in there to research and, harness your own knowledge and just continuously learn, because it's through that knowledge that you're able to execute better. So that's typically what my day looks like: meetings, meetings, meetings. I think of technology as being that catalyst to just about anything. I feel rewarded when we have a very complex project or a complex problem, and when we're able to solve it, whether through a successful rollout of a new solution that's serving whether our customers or our team members. That's very rewarding to me because, being a part of the complexities of that, I guess it's a part of that loving to solve problems aspect of my personality. Each problem that you solve adds to your confidence level in feeling that there's virtually no problem that doesn't have some kind of solution. And having that kind of confidence is something that it helps you in life, not only in IT. Truth of the matter is, it is that confidence that I believe would have allowed me to even expand my problem solving, even beyond IT, and delving into the sporting world, and even trying to ensure that what I can do in terms of improving, sports administration through technology in that respect. So that is a reward in and of itself for me, really just being able to see how technology is improving the lives of just about everything. I mean, the pandemic would have been what I consider one of the greatest technology transformations or digital transformations in recent times. Things that I believe as a business we would have been working towards trying to get customers to adopt to using technology to make their lives easier. And it just goes to show that, in some instances, it took a pandemic to get many customers that you perhaps would have said, uh, it's so much work to try and get, the level of education out there. Because what you're trying to fight against is just the fear of technology and the fear that, you know, technology is going to bite you. You just, there's so many people. But when you have a greater fear, which was COVID-19, it really surpassed all the other fears and allowed so many people to recognize, wow, you mean I could have been banking online and doing so many things instead of going into the branch? I could have been transferring my money from one account to another without having to come to the bank. So much that persons were so afraid of doing digitally, um, they really embraced that. And what that has done, I think, for technology on a whole is that it has now created a drive that our customers want even more. So we can't sit back anymore and just recognize that this is enough. We have to continue to innovate and try to find new ways to serve this new community, as I call it, of our digitally transformed customers and employees. It's the same thing internally. Before the pandemic, having a virtual meeting was almost a no, no, no. You had to meet face to face because virtual, there was a perception that virtual meant you were wasting time and hiding in the background. Now it became a part of our lives. And I think that will continue to be a part of our lives because it has allowed us to see how much we can connect with persons globally without incurring the cost of travel. So it has made certain aspects of implementing projects so much more cost effective. And because we have become so savvy at working virtually, I think going forward post pandemic, it will become a part of our lives and it will continue to enrich our lives. And I do think that there will always be a place for face to face. And I think a hybrid is always recommended. But just to see the way that companies now have embraced having digital virtual meetings is truly inspirational for me. That's a great question. I would love to see a digitally mature community here in Jamaica. And what that looks like for me is having a certain level of maturity in all our sectors. I start with education. The pandemic would have really transformed, I would say, high school education because we were forced to try to deliver training and education in our high schools and even if, the pre-high school as well. Now, I think if we really accelerate and use this as a baseline for us, the way that education can be delivered in whether a hybrid, virtual, just the way that we can connect and communicate and having information for students at their fingertips. I would love to see Jamaica at the point where every single student has access to all the digital tools to be able to learn, do their online workshops and different things that will continue to enhance their learning and expand beyond the typical classroom experience and really diversify the whole learning experience and enrich that. I think that will deliver a different kind of child coming out of our education system. Um, I would love to see, I've seen, efforts in the communication sector, but there are other basic areas that's a part of our lives. Health. I'd love to see more transformation in our health sector. Too much paper, too much reliance on paper and not enough digital. You should be able to transfer your hospital records from one institution to another and your medical records be centrally available. And any doctor that you attend should be able to pull up your records centrally. That's where I'd like to see our country move to. Food, we're seeing innovation in food. I mean, Grace Kennedy is right there in the food market, transforming and even just transforming the way we access food, the way we manufacture and develop just different techniques. That is, I think Jamaica has a unique opportunity there because we're known for our food and our flavors and so forth. So I'd love to see more use of technology where that is concerned. And I mean, there, I won't get into our utilities, but we are seeing digital transformation in some of our utilities. And, we do see even in our energy sector, technology being leveraged in a significant way to try to reduce costs. I really continue to urge them in that regard. And, I think leveraging technology will help to reduce some of the significant costs in these industries. And all in all, that will just help with our communities. So that would be my overall vision. And of course, I must add, I would love to be able to see every Jamaican have access to data. The way data is, it's almost data is only for the privileged. And I really would love for it to become second nature and almost a right. How to get that done? I'm not a politician. I'm not a government administrator. But, I think every dream starts with an idea and it needs to just be fleshed out. And it may seem impossible, but 10 years from now, that could just be a reality, or less than that, 2030. My primary purpose in life is to inspire my children. I have 2 daughters. Inspire them to be the best that they can be in whatever area they choose to, even if it is not an area popularly participated in by women. And me being in technology and being one of the few females who perhaps are at the top of the leadership chart here in Jamaica with respect to IT, I hope that can inspire them to recognize that if they have other aspirations, any aspirations in whatever field, that they should boldly be able to pursue that without reservation. I think that is my purpose in guiding them. And, I hope I live to see what they can deliver to our community in the future. In my career, I really just want to continue to be a part of a successful organization that gives back to the community, and just to be a part of a vision and executing on that vision, and knowing that my knowledge, my experience, my problem solving can really contribute to something far bigger than myself and far bigger than the organization. I mean, I'm so proud to work with Grace Kennedy, and I think it is an experience no greater than any other experience that I've encountered in my career because of what Grace Kennedy represents to Jamaica. And just being a part of that and being a part of solving so many of the problems that going to continuing to make Grace Kennedy great and sustainable for the future and for Jamaica and soon across the world, more so across the world.